Well, praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. This is Dr. Gregory Clark Sr., and it is a pleasure being with you on this wonderful Tuesday. Today is one of those special days because we're going to have a great teaching, but I have to start off with some of the vitriol that I've been receiving today. Yes! Dr. Clark has been getting a lot of hate, especially on good evening, Miss Cooper. Good evening, good evening. Matter of fact, everyone just type in, good evening, or do your salutations in the chat so I can acknowledge you that way. So, we can acknowledge you formally. So I thank God for Miss Cooper. Miss Cooper is in the building. I know she, her Eagles, her Eagles. Hey, I had to wait a minute. Thank you, Nicole. I'm happy you came right behind me because we had blessed love to Mr. Guthrie. Good evening, Mr. Osa Sammy. Okay. Who else? Come on now. Type in the chat. 3417. That's right. That's right. Yes. Yes. Good evening, Mr. Franklin. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. I see Mr. William Richards is in the building. I see Mr. Davis. There you go, Mr. Richards. Come on, Mr. Davis. You out there in the heartland. Your team is 5-1. I know y'all are bucking up as Colt fans. I know. Come on now, Mr. Davis. Let us know you're in the building, that you can type in there. Let us know so we can greet you and say hello, say hello, say hello. Because today is one of those interesting days. And one of the things that my wife has always told me, I love stirring the pot. See, I'm not a loud person by nature. I'm not an individual that, goes and attacks people or create atmospheres. Good evening, Mr. Grinley. How you doing, sir? Great to hear you. Great to see you in the chat. And the reason for that is that, you don't necessarily have to be loud to be strong. And so first of all, I'm gonna show you the picture that I decided to post today because usually I usually do videos. Like I go to the gym at least 6 days out the week, permitting, other than if I don't have ministerial duties or any type of Episcopal duties that I may have to have because I am part of leadership of a church. And so, if I'm not going across the country doing something with my wife, or we're not doing stuff where we're serving other people, most times the only post that you'll get from me if you follow me on my respective social media feeds is me in the gym, and I'll give a little excerpt for the day, something positive, something uplifting, something that's very Black oriented, because I love myself, I love my people, and I'm not going to minimize that for anyone. So anyway, when I get into those conversations about when other communities may express themselves in particular ways, I'm usually the one that will push back from an intellectual space, not be all rah-rah about it, but from an intellectual space. So what I would like to say to begin off, it started off with this whole Charlie Kirk stuff. And see, it wasn't so much about his vitriol while he was alive or all of the things that he expressed, which was very detrimental to our respective community, not very forthcoming, not very respectful of our community, and especially when it came to our women. And so, and like we said again, no one deserves to be murdered. I'm not going to use the word assassinated. That's what other people attempt to try to elevate it and try to make him into something bigger than what he was. And as we know from a biblical space, if you live by the sword, you die by the sword. And so when you start to recognize that this person wasn't inclusive, but very divisive, it was very telling how the United States, or at least from the House of Representatives, and then the Senate went along with this thing, which I didn't understand that either. But today was supposed to be the day, October 14th, which was his birthday, Charlie Kirk's birthday. Today he's going to have a day of remembrance, this whole solidarity, I guess, day of remembrance for Charlie Kirk, because, he died. He was such a superhero and all this other stuff. No, he wasn't. He was not a superhero. He had a First Amendment right to express himself the way that he desired to express himself. And by him expressing himself, as I'm seeing these notifications pop up, these are probably more people that are jumping onto something that I'm going to share in a couple of seconds. And so let me first show you the picture. Let me first share the picture that I put. Now, some of you who are part of our respective feeds and things of that nature, you may have seen this picture today, and I put this out there purposefully because sometimes you got to stir the pot. Now, I always ask Sister Nicole, our super moderator, if she can see it, then if she sees it, I know everyone else can see it. Can you see the picture?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So now, as you notice, for those of you who may not know, which it would be crazy if you say you didn't know who this person was. We all can see this is George Floyd. As you can see, this is an AI rendering of this man because actually today is his birthday as well. So, as you can see, as I posted this picture on most of my social media feeds, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, I'm definitely on Facebook. I even posted it as a post to my YouTube channel. And the reason for this was if you were going to have a day of remembrance in regards to Charlie Kirk, let us recognize, none of us are perfect. None of us are, as you can see, this is AI generated. So for all of us who are into utilizing our tools and things of that nature, yes, have the man dressed dignified. He's in a suit. Looks like he got a very nice, expensive watch on, but it's a very good rendition of it. Now, let me stop sharing this for a second. Now, we've all seen the picture that I put up. And this is the picture I said, and to counteract the fact that so many people and so many interesting individuals, wanted to embolden or empower the fact or feel respectfully, how should I say, in their space of their narrative to share how, it's supposed to be all about only Charlie Kirk. It's day of remembrance. How dare I make a post like that and put it out there in social media streets? Okay. So now we're going to go to the real nitty gritty. Let's share what I really need to show. Okay. Now, for some of you, you should be, and 400, now I'm up to 430 some odd people who have, and more comments. As you can see, comments are coming left and right. Who can see, Miss Johnson, moderator, we can see my screen?
Perfectly clear.
Okay, good, excellent. As you can see, today, I said, this is the only day of remembrance. And as you can see, if you see on the left, while I'm sharing this live right now, even at the time of this taping, these are people who are responding to this post. So now all of a sudden, this post has sort of gotten viral. I even got a notification from Facebook today. This post has been bubbling up on the surface, causing some sort of headache. And as you can see, as my statement, this is the only day of remembrance I am flowing through today. As we remember Mr. George Floyd and all of the other atrocities perpetrated in and around our communities. And I put the respective hashtags. I put Comeback Conversations, put Mr. Floyd's name. I said Day of Remembrance, Community, and Liberation. So far, it doesn't sound like I'm trying to spark any type of vitriol or create an argument. You should always position yourself to create a conversation. And that's what we do here, the Comeback Conversation. So as I scroll down now, as you can say, his birthday is a true day of remembrance. That's what I added as a little extra tagline. And now, as you can see, this is my one statement, because all of a sudden I started seeing so many individuals got 390 comments on this one post. There's 390 comments and 5 shares so far of this one post. So now, if I view more comments, now let's see. My one and only response was, you can see the venom in the hearts of some, and it is all good. And that's I should have been that's why, terrible spelling. But that's why we don't waste time with racists. It is his birthday, and we are not rocking with the one who was murdered by his own people. So as you can see, that one statement created a little. I got 30 replies off of that one statement. Before I click on those replies, but as you can see, some of the comments, these are people real bold. He is wearing a suit. Must be a court hearing. LMFAO, only time he was ever in a suit was in front of a judge. Now, mind you, this is what they think about us. This is so funny, I can't breathe. Now, you're looking at people who are doing their likes and their ha-has and all that stuff. People who, it's actually the National Day of Forgetting Floyd. Old Georgie went with Pennywise and floated away. One went to heaven and the other went to hell. Not hard to figure out who went where. Now that one, I don't know where Charles Wright was coming from. So I can't say it. And I see people didn't really, click like on that one. So unless one individual did. And, in regards to let's see this one. I'm sorry a human being is dead, but remembrance and respect for this individual? Not a chance. A troubled soul with a criminal and drug past actively engaging in a crime while he perished, which was a lie. Sorry, not someone to celebrate. Again, sad that a human being lost his life, but that's all. I can respect that one. Next statement. He is 5 years sober now. Remember, he died on May 25th, 2020. He had lots of experiences with court proceedings. And now we see this guy, Mike Henderson, who I guess we already know where he is because we can see what his picture was. He decided to put all the different things that let us not forget these atrocities to our community. Great post, brother, after putting all this stuff out there. My favorite memory, I won't click that because that's disgusting. And it lets you know sometimes where people's mindset is. And that's when I decided up top to make the remembrance of that. Okay, Ronnie Charlie Kirk Hoffman Sr. I guess this guy, we can tell who he goes for. I wouldn't waste a drop of whiskey on his remembrance. Must have stolen the suit. He would not seek help, all said. Let's see what else. Wait, what? 5 years drug-free, referencing the fact that the man transitioned 5 years ago. Whoa, everyone just take a deep breath and think about this. The world is a better place without him. Congrats in sobriety. 5 years sober. Like another person, 5 years sober. You can see the theme of this. He doesn't look like he did in the YouTube video before his arrest. This video is from the store he was stealing in. I guess someone has a video of him stealing, that was a lie. It was allegedly over a fake $20 bill. Allegedly. No, Charlie Kirk real deal remembers. This is his birthday too. Charlie Kirk, a true hero. Happy birthday up in heaven. You will be missed, R.I.P. Might as well have a Charles Manson day. That's not an orange jumpsuit. Oh my, for those who wonder why we are not united as a people, this is why. It ain't for a job interview, I bet. So right now, I'm a stop share for a moment. And the reason why I brought this up, and the reason why it to me is a comeback conversation, because we have to recognize, as you can tell, unless someone can, if I can take feedback. If you told me that my post was something that, based upon what I put as a caption, was, supposed to spark some sort of, how should I say, vitriol, or I was, deframing another, minimizing another community or anything like that, I can take that. But as we, have this beginning conversation, I'm gonna open up the floor to see who has a thought. And so on a usual day, how much interaction do you usually have with colonizers on your posts? Not that many. So Miss Johnson, please open up your mic. Talk to me. It seems they wanted to be triggered. Interesting. So Miss Johnson, please give me your thoughts. Give me your thoughts.
Well, I have the thing, but sometimes I'm getting better at observing patterns.
Mm-hmm.
And I was observing the patterns of the responses you were receiving.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed a common thread in the low levels of melanin in the respondents.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, is this your usual engagement? But you just said no.
Mm-hmm.
So if people usually don't engage with you, there's usually one spark. And that one spark usually isn't up to any good because it's like you guys have the farce of the national, was it the Medal of Freedom being given to
Oh yeah.
the man who was killed.
Mm-hmm. The widow, yes, the widow.
Yeah, the widow who for a time I thought was trying to be Jackie O, but that is still playing around in my head. But so you actively, one person saw it and then chose to give it to their hive mind, and they've all shown themselves. But what's perplexing to me is it is 2025. We are
Mm-hmm.
in a quote unquote surveillance state.
Mm-hmm.
If your name is on a comment, people can click on it
Mm-hmm.
and find out where you work. And
Mm-hmm.
we found the true gravity of that after Mr. Kirk was killed
Mm-hmm.
because people were looking up what people who responded, what they say, reported them to their job. And unfortunately, they were losing their jobs in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like your life is going so well, you have to seek out struggle. That seems crazy. And I'm complete.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Who else? Who wants to open up their mic? Come on, this is a conversation. This is not a monologue. This is a conversation. You saw the comments. This wasn't made up. And I'm still getting comments to this very second. People are commenting on this thing, doing, this. And see, one of the things I love about this, and maybe this is based upon the mentor that I have in my life, when you start to recognize it's not so much about publicity or good publicity or bad publicity. But the reason why I put this post out there, because if the U.S. federal government wasn't shut down right now based upon what the Republicans have done, they would have figured out a way to go on through because they wrote it as a bill. We were going to make today Charlie Kirk's birthday. No one else. Charlie Kirk deserved a day of remembrance. A divisive individual. And you're going to put that in the face of black and brown people like, oh, we're just supposed to accept it. That's just the status quo. That's just what America does. No, no. And then when we started doing the research and started recognizing, because I remember the day I was in service and my wife sitting next to me and we was utilizing our technologies and our AIs and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, started to see all the other individuals that were born on October 14th. I said, wait a minute, this is interesting. How is it the day that we saw that worldwide, we saw someone murdered with someone putting their foot on this man's neck, crushing his larynx? And then people got the audacity, as you can see, saw in some of the comments, and even some of the vitriol during that time. And as we can see, it's still ongoing. That he was just a drug abuser. He was just such a terrible human being. He deserved that. It's like, So that means you're still on the side of the officer who committed murder and was found guilty of second-degree murder. Because what we saw was a murder. He had no weapon. There was no reason to be on someone's neck for almost 9 minutes. But yet and still, we've seen those, and that's why I made sure I put in that post, those atrocities that happen in and around our communities. Because we can go back to Trayvon Martin, visiting his father, in a well-to-do, decent community out there in Florida, and somebody decided that they were going to play vigilante and play um, super cop and ended the young man's life, or Mike Brown, or I can't remember the young man's name from Baltimore, but we have too many. We even go to Eric Garner here in New York. So we even experienced it. Tamir Rice, thank you. No, Tamir Rice was Cleveland. But I'm trying to remember the gentleman's name from Baltimore. But there's been so many. I mean, we've seen it here in New York, or even how at times the same person who's the 47th president right now, put full page ads on the Central Park Five talking about the death penalty needs to come back to New York and they deserve to be killed, and come to find out all five of them were innocent and everything else, but there was no retraction, there was no apology. We're supposed to just keep going. And one of the things that I'm recognizing about the combat conversation is not about stirring up anything, but we have to recognize what type of society that we live in. See, we can be all high and mighty, and we can be all, above the fray, and be looking and saying, okay, we're going to just look forward, and not recognizing the sacrifices, not recognizing some of the things that were detrimental to the vibration of our community, how certain things move in systemic fashion. And just to see that, as I recognize, because I was shocked when even Facebook reached out to me, it's like, wait a minute, your content is very stimulative today. I'm like, okay, I don't know if it's because I have the blue check mark now or whatever, and y'all verified me and all this other stuff. He says, no, you've stimulated a conversation. It's like, stimulated a conversation. All I did was put up a post remembering someone from my community, the same way that other people would do that for their own respective communities. And this is the response. Now the algorithm is allegedly pushing this thing out, where it's now being reshared and all these. I was like, wait a minute, what is going on here? This is very interesting. So who's next? I don't want to be the only one talking. Other people, come on now. There's too many black and powerful black and brown people in this room. Me, the only one speaking. Who's taking up the mic next? You gotta give me some thoughts on this. Can't be silent on this one. Can't be silent on this
one. Just one quick share, Doc, if I may.
Go ahead. That's what it's about.
When I was a very young man, I came across a little saying: nothing unites people like the common hatred for something. And you think love is powerful? Hate made 75 million people vote for somebody. The question is, what did they hate so much that they could possibly be, shall we say, happy about the present state of these United States? Just a question.
Well, the same way as when Ms. Johnson asked me the question about usually my engagement with other communities, usually you can always do the analytics and some of your social medias, and you can start to see who are the people, sometimes even countries or specific individuals who, where does your stuff gravitate towards? And my stuff is usually about 85% black and brown people. Or the ones that would comment, at least view, even if they like it or don't like it, at least they view it. And you can check your views and things of that nature. So, okay, I'm seeing who I'm trending with, who I am called to, where my Jerusalem is, as other people would say. And so to me, this was very telling from a lot of different ways. Number one, it shows that in some aspects, the algorithm is looking for something. And this is probably for any of the social media feeds, because I've seen it even on some of the other platforms. The algorithm is looking for something. They're looking for stuff that seems to be very sensational, seems to be very, I don't know if it's supposed to, they thought that this post was supposed to be divisive, because I don't feel the post was divisive, because like I'm gonna say again, if the U.S. federal government wasn't shut down right now, we'd have been seeing all over the news feeds, regardless of you lean left or right or in the middle. You'd have been seeing whatever they would have attempted to decide to do to remember someone who was divisive, someone that they claimed that deserved the Medal of Honor. But yet, we as a community, we put up, we're going to remember George Floyd. Today was his birthday. We're going to acknowledge the fact that, y'all want to create these national days of remembrance. We'll show you, in regards to, we can remember too. We're not, creating an atmosphere of angst, but we have the right to have dialogue, right? This First Amendment, yeah, this is what y'all was screaming about Charlie Kirk about. Oh, you people, y'all shouldn't feel away. And then all of a sudden, when you play the button or play the video, and it's like, this is what he said. This is what he said about Black men. This is what he said about Black women. This is what he said about Black individuals who aspire to reach a certain level of achievement. And the only reason why they did that because they had to have taken it from some poor white person. But that's okay. But if we put a thought, and we say, wait a minute, we're going to remember this young man. This is his birthday too. I didn't know Charlie Kirk was the only person ever born or came into this world on October 14th. Even today is Stephen A. Smith's birthday. He's a Libra. They did the whole thing, celebrated him on the show earlier today. And it's like, wait, there's another October 14th, Libra. All these Libras. All these people that are supposedly supposed to bring a space of balance are working out their life through that lens. But all of a sudden I go viral and I'm hitting plenty of other communities today off of a post about let's remember George Floyd. He was an American citizen. Regardless if he had a criminal record, like we can say John F. Kennedy Sr., not Jr., not the president, his father. His father was a criminal, was a bootlegger. So we talk about that. We shouldn't talk about that. The Kennedys are just, they got their money. Originally, that's how he was able to funnel and fund the fact that one of his sons ended up becoming president. They were criminals. But we can't talk about that. Or if we state what is fact and historical, am I stimulating a race conversation? But I share about the Bush family. That's right. Grandpa Bush wasn't great grandpa Bush wasn't. Sometimes you have to look at the backstory of how some of these people earned their money. But we're not focused on that today. We're focused on the fact of how, and I wasn't even looking for this to happen that way. How am I going viral off a post representing someone in our community, but everyone is just talking about the fact that from a different perspective, that it was good that this man is dead. I'm like, I'm confused by this. So you're happy that George Floyd got killed and was murdered? Same way that Charlie Kirk was murdered. Not assassinated, just like George Floyd wasn't assassinated. He was murdered. Charlie Kirk was murdered. And yes, I put it out there by one of your own, by one of his own, because y'all love to talk about black on black crime. As more people are still commenting and leaving comments, I guess, on this thing. Y'all love to talk about black on black crime. Oh yeah. And just like I think one of the posts said, oh, this is the reason why y'all burn and destroy your own communities. And you sit there like, wow. I remember even some of the riots that occurred after the George Floyd situation occurred, and come to find out that some of the people that were starting the scuffles and some of the antagonism towards the police didn't look like us. That people was taking advantage of the fact that there's some sort of civil unrest, and now this is my time jump into the fray and blame it on them. Because we're the only ones that will attempt to burn down our own community because we ain't got we have no stability, allegedly. So who's next to open up their mic? I need to hear some dialogue. Come on. Come on. This is our community. And sometimes when we stay mute on certain subjects, that lets you know why they feel empowered. Other people feel empowered that they can express themselves. And it's like, oh, we're going to stay mute. We're going to stay in our place. We don't want people. I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to rock the boat. But yeah, they're going to rock the boat. So you're going to take the rocking and just accept that? Or it's not about being pushed back, but recognizing, wait a minute, we are empowered to be expressive. We are empowered to be as powerful as we so choose to be. We are willing to recognize that, wait a minute, we have contributed to this country. Regardless if we was born in these United States or we came and immigrated in here and then added value to this country and added to the very flavor of this world, especially the United States. So who else wants to open up their mic? Who has a comment or a thought in regards to this situation, in regards to how the interaction or the interactions are happening off a picture? God forbid if this was a video. They may have to monetize it. Anyone? Oh,
Dr. Clark.
Go ahead, Mr. Franklin. Come on.
So I noticed no one had anything good to say about this guy, but these folks wasn't with him like day in and day out. Is it the media serving another purpose? I'm complete.
No, what it is that, and this is unfortunate because this usually happens in our community. See, when George Floyd died in 2020, the first thing that they started to do, even though the video was heart-wrenching, was disgusting, was traumatizing, they started looking for all the things that this man did that were allegedly, or even if they started to look for all the stuff that he has done. They started to go make the background check. Oh, he was a drug abuser. He's been arrested this many times. He's did this, he's did that. He did all these different crimes and he's been charged with all these different offenses. But I wonder what would happen if we started really unveiling a lot of because most of the crime in this country is done by white people. So what would happen if we started doing that? Or when we look at most of the school shootings that happen across this country, I don't see one of us doing that. Even if it's a young child or a young adult or a full-blown adult. I don't see us going into supermarkets shooting people indiscriminately. I don't see us going into schools or churches or driving into mosques or driving into, different faiths and doing all kind of this stuff. Should we start checking? But one of the things I've noticed, and I know I'm going to ask my wife to chime in a couple of seconds. One thing I noticed when it's one of them, we start talking about mental health. We don't start talking about, some of the things that they may have been not perfect in, because by no means we're making George Floyd perfect, because none of us are. Not nary one of us is perfect. But dang it, don't sit here and act like his life wasn't worth something. The same way that all of your lives are worth something. The same way I know my life worth something. I know that my children's life, I know people who are affiliated with me and part of my community, their life means something. It's worth something. And to me, it's the equivalent of us being humans. I'm not going to say you, and it's sad that even from an insurance standpoint, they would try to minimize people in our community and try to elevate other communities. That means you're putting a value on a life. And those are the things that we have to have a comeback conversation about. Because this stuff, even though we have the ability to say, okay, we're gonna persevere through it, we're gonna keep, we're gonna keep flowing forward. But sometimes you gotta stop and be like, wait a minute, wait. I know Michelle said when they go low, you go high, but sometimes when they go low, sometimes you gotta punch them in the throat. Why? Because then, with most bullies, they're going to feel empowered to say, oh, I can keep doing this. I can keep treating you like you're substandard, or you 3/5 of a person, or you don't have the ability to respond, or you don't have the ability to say that, wait a minute, you're empowered by your community. Why wouldn't I be proud to be Black? Who am I else supposed to be? I'm supposed to minimize myself to the space and the point that I shouldn't be proud of who I am or my ancestry of Jamaican. Why wouldn't I be proud? It's a wonderful legacy. Why wouldn't I be proud of that? Why would I minimize myself and be like, oh no, I just have to feel like and just fit in. No, sometimes you can't just fit in. At times you got to step up and step lively into it. Like, wait a minute, whoa. There's a point of saying, respectfully, I'm not going to engage. And there are times when you have to stop for a moment and be like, wait a minute, I have to say something. Because you're getting too comfortable, or you're feeling too empowered, or you feel, as I'm seeing, as all these posts and comments and things of that nature and shares and all this, the vitriol on this particular post, I said, wait a minute, y'all are just so comfortable, as if you're entitled to have these respective opinions about us or about this gentleman, and then relate it back to the fact that, that doesn't make me racist. That I think the only time this man could ever wear a suit was when he went to court. What do you mean? Mm-hmm. Wait a minute, you grew up with him? You know him? You spent your whole entire life with him? Why would you even say something like that? Oh, because he abused drugs. Not like most of the people who abuse drugs in the United States who happen to be white, and they're hitting that meth or that PCP, or they're hitting all these other designer drugs, and they're running around here acting a plumb fool. So is this pot calling the kettle black? I'm confused. So yes, this is a comeback conversation. This is a comeback conversation in regards to recognizing that, number one, we're no longer staying silent or being the good little citizen that people can say whatever they desire or want, or feel emboldened or empowered to do so. And we're sitting there like, oh, okay, they said that about us. Okay, we accept that. But we put a post that can, not about glorifying this man, because we all have a past. If we just probably all to really respectfully go on each one of our pockets or closets, we can see things like, ooh, that was a section of your life, you were a little whatever the adjective that you wanted to appropriately put around it. But you were still empowered and still motivated to get to this day where you may have grown from those mistakes or grown from those experiences and been able to take that mess and make it a message. But as we're seeing of the vitriol that's going along in this country, which is very distasteful, that no, we're no longer just sitting there and accepting that. This post wasn't about celebrating George Floyd. It's about recognizing today's this man's birthday. This was the day that his mother brought him forth through her loins and brought him into the space. And we recognize on May 25th, 2020, he was murdered for the world to see. And if you're going to attempt to push a narrative in our face that we're supposed to celebrate or remember someone who was totally divisive, and have the audacity to think that we're supposed to just sit quietly and be like, oh, just accept that because that's what they do. I'm sorry. I'm not the only one that feels like that. Because I saw other posts, all in different parts of different feeds and stuff and people celebrating that. Yeah, we're gonna remember George Floyd today, not remember that other guy. And even in the video towards the end of my workout today, I made sure it says, "Yo, we're just celebrating the man's birthday. We're remembering his birthday." That was a traumatic experience that the world saw. We're not even saying the United States saw. The world saw this. But you're not going to push a narrative to us like, okay, we know Charlie Kirk is divisive. We know Charlie Kirk was disrespectful. We know Charlie Kirk was all these things. But we're supposed to accept that because he was talking about us. But if we bring up someone else, how the unmitigated gall. So who's next to open up your mic? No, there's too many intellectuals in this room for this to be so quiet. And this just shows why they feel empowered to do what they do.
I don't know if you can hear me. I know my mic is maybe compromised.
We can hear you, Dr. Cheryl.
Oh, okay, great, because there's some background noise. So I will just say this in regards to this whole thing with the picture that you put up. I don't really think it has anything to do with the picture. I just think it has to do with the emboldenedness of people being able to say what they want to say now. That's it. People are now saying what they want. People are now very emboldened to say what they really think outside of their kitchen table. So a lot of us are now hearing people talk. And this wasn't the first time. I'm sure if you go back and you see when it really did happen, people were applauding the cops. People on the side of the cops, people on the side of the victim. You're going to get this. And I like that the conversation is, now, what stance are you going to take? What stance are you going to be? And what stance, if this is riling you up, then you need to figure out what is your position in the world that you're going to come at. Because racism has been here for decades and decades upon decades upon decades. And it's about you saying, okay, what am I going to tackle? Is it my position to tackle it? Like I'm tackling my area of where I'm tackling for the brown and black girls. What position are you going to take? So the comeback conversation, if you're saying, okay, people have their right to their opinion, they do. And a lot of it is racist. So I will say we've been fighting this fight, whether it's feminists, whether it's women, whether it's sexism, it doesn't matter. We've been fighting this for a long time. And you just see that the racism that's here is not going anywhere. So now it's time. People want to look at the rules of what United States was built on. It was built on the backs of our people. And you talked about you being from Jamaica, but you were dropped off there.
Exactly.
That's where you were dropped off. That's where your family was dropped off at. We were dropped off at, and we would just drop off in these different areas, and then we just get fragmented, and then we're the only people that do not have a sense of who we are because we were ripped from our homeland. So that's why they have us fighting against each other, even fighting against lighter blacks from darker blacks. It's so insane. So until we start to organize and come to a sense of who we are, I think we'll still be having these conversations. So that's what I have.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay, I see Nicole. Okay, the moderator has dropped something in the chat. Let's see. Please ask Dr. Cheryl if she agrees. Political psychologists note a license effect. Let me explain this. A license effect. When authority figures disregard social graces and followers interpret it as a moral exemption to do the same. This is from the social learning theory. And then Nicole's question after that, how do we counteract that? Dr. Cheryl?
I need you to read that again. I think I got half of it, what you said.
No problem. Please ask Dr. Cheryl if she agrees. So we preface the point. Political psychologists note a license effect, and that's in quotations, license effect. When authority figures disregard social graces and followers interpret it as a moral exemption to do the same. And it's from Bandura's Social Learning Theory of 1977. And then her question is, how do we counteract that?
To counteract the graces, social graces of
the license effect. When authority figures disregard social graces, that means disregarding social graces, and followers interpret that as a moral exemption to do the same.
Well, a great question. Of course, Nicole would have to have me go into my